And today's topic is on child support enforcement, Bryan County, Durant, Oklahoma, unlawful use of authority that was given to them. This is a disclaimer, is why I'm going to use certain words in this video because I'm running out of despicable things and how to describe how Oklahoma conducts themselves. You know, I've already run into a lot of problems with the what was it when I went to trial with a CF 2014-343, and I found out a lot of things that Oklahoma does. They don't even follow their own state law, let alone federal law, and the judges don't do what they're supposed to in the offices that they have, and I have plenty of proof of that in several other videos. So, if you hear the word Nazi, that's because it best describes these people. Alright, first thing up on this video is we're going to go to child abuse. It starts or stops here. And this is the truth of the matter. It does. Because if this girl doesn't have a child, then there's no child to be abused. If she's not informed on having a child properly and know when to wait to have a child and to bring it into a safe and stable environment, then there's going to be problems. And this is the problem with a lot of these states like Oklahoma and Arizona, where they turn around and automatically give the child to the female who doesn't have a job, doesn't know how to discipline the kid or have any idea. So this stops. Now we're going to say this is your little girl, and let's say awareness. How is she learning about family relationships? Have you even gotten involved with her? They're about 5 or 6 when they start doing this stuff, and you really need to pay attention because you have to be involved in your children's lives in order to see at what point they are, where they need help, whether they're learning the lessons of discipline. But then you have to be one that disciplines. You have to be teaching them moral and all kinds of things. If you're not, then you're failing your child as a parent. They learn it when they're in the room playing house. This is where she is developing her skills, like the Barbie and Ken. And when your daughter's playing house or tea party or whatever, this is how she's understanding how she may engage in a relationship. So if you see her going through this, you need to get yourself involved. And like with my daughter, Ken was kissing her, and Barbie and Ken were kissing, they were dancing, they were doing all this stuff, and then they go home and they go to bed. And it's like, wait a minute. First, is Ken the right, Ken for Barbie? Should Barbie be not so easily kissing Ken? But you got to rate it at your daughter's age. But you put in like certain safety things and guide them, because they are listening to you, then they're trying to, because kids are wanting to learn, and they're doing this stuff based on, what they see around the house. They mimic stuff. So if you're making out in front of your kids, which we never did, then you're sending your kids the wrong information. So you got to be involved, and you got to be not their friend, but more of somebody that they listen to, and somebody that they believe you. My children took to heart everything that I would tell them, because I didn't BS them. I was always consistent on her all the time. Unlike their mom, would just one day something would be okay, the next day it wouldn't be. So they didn't know where they stood with her because she didn't know where she stood. So this is where you start talking, stay involved, and then as they're growing up, that way at least you know when they're starting to be, more engaging into an actual relationship. See, in boys, they don't have a clue because at the time my daughter was doing this, my son was playing with Ghostbusters and all kinds of other stuff. He didn't care about no Barbie kissing nothing. None of his Ghostbusters kissed anybody. So, and basically, unless she's actually physically raped later on in life, the decision she makes decides whether or not who gets access to certain areas of her to where a baby's produced. She needs to know when it's proper, when it's not, and then she needs to be held accountable that she just brought a kid into the world and she can't take care of it, and the state of Oklahoma and Arizona will give it to you and you can't take care of it, and then if it becomes abused because you brought somebody in there into your family, like some boyfriend or something later on, then you're liable. Because I've never needed anything bad enough to put a predator around my kids. But women do it all the time. By dating different guys, they don't like a certain guy, but the other guy they like because he's Joe Badass. And, they end up getting abused, and along with their children getting abused. So, and they go from one bad guy to the next. And everybody knows that. Seen it too many times in life. So, you need to make sure she knows she's responsible. And if she lies to the guy and tells him that she's on birth control and she's not, for all intents and purposes, she should be responsible for everything. Because it's her right to reproduce, not the guy's. Okay, now this is a perfect example. This is where the state of Oklahoma and the mother of this gave this child, several of them, to this female. And of course, they're saying that this one is mine, and I know for a fact it isn't, because I wasn't even in this state in 99, and I left it in 97. When you don't bring your children up to be accountable. And most girls want to leave the house, as soon as possible, start their own family, and have no clue. And the state of Oklahoma and Arizona and several other states like to give a woman that never knows she's never had a job, she doesn't know anything about responsibility because she wasn't responsible with her own personal body. And, because they're in control, so they have to be responsible. They have to be held responsible. It's their body, their choice. So they can start taking responsibility. And see, this is the kind of stuff that happens all the time. They sent me this summons and everything, and I said, well, come get your kid, you take custody. And I told them, I said, I've been telling you people for years, man, this is not my kid. I wasn't in this state. And this kid now is 23, and you'll see later on where they're trying to, and child support failed this kid by giving him back to that person that was irresponsible. And Janice, who's, I guess, this person's mother, was irresponsible with raising her child. So you take an irresponsible mother, and it creates another irresponsible mother, and then you have child abuse. And if you guys don't like what I'm saying, I don't care. It's the truth. You can't blame the guy for this stuff. Had Misty been brought up properly, had Janice, who was her mother, done a better job and didn't fail her kid, then you wouldn't have these situations. And if the state would hold these women responsible and quit making it the man's fault or the male's fault when a male was lied to, then you still wouldn't have these problems. You make these women responsible for their actions, and I guarantee you that child abuse, child neglect, and child endangerment will go down significantly by coming after the guys because nobody wants to get involved with a woman's rights. I mean, you're putting her rights over the kids' rights, the father's rights, the family's rights. You're not making her, you know, honor her vows, keeping her word. I mean, you don't check on her, make sure she's spending the money where she should, and then you get this. Child abuse starts and stops here. Has nothing to do with the guys whatsoever. So I don't even want to hear that. If you don't teach another thing, when my kids, both of them were old enough to understand the difference, they were told nobody, I don't care if they're kids, older kids, or adults, touches you in your private personal areas. So if it's at school, you tell your teacher right away. I don't care who touches you. It's a no-no. And you tell your teacher right away. I said if it happens at home around here, you tell me or your mom. None of your friends, none of the older kids, not even adults. I don't care if it's a cop. Nobody touches you in your personal area. And I made sure of that they understood it. That was told to them when they were of an age to understand. Because you didn't have nobody perving my kids. And that's what happened to this poor kid that got left to this girl. Teach this girl not to spit out a kid before she's ready, then that's what you get all the time. And states like Oklahoma have now figured they've got a new source of income. See, this is my 2008 resume. Now, this has more legitimacy and integrity than anything that Bryan County District Court or child support can print up, or any of the attorneys for child support or state, because this document was written on Microsoft Works 4.0. I have the original copy of it when it was made, and this has me running my own business. You know, from 97 to 99. And I left. So I didn't write this up just here and there. Okay, now here's Oklahoma commits fraud. Now this is good. You guys need to watch this. This is what I've been telling you this whole time. Now this right here where it says would not receive adequate financial support. This got kids like 16. And this kid wouldn't be going through financial support if the mother had a freaking brain in her head, and if her mother had a freaking brain in her head, and if these states start holding these women responsible, then you wouldn't have to worry about child support at all, because you wouldn't have women falsely blaming guys. And I don't care about none of their rights, because when they put my name in their mouth and implicated me in something like this, that I have all the kind of say I want. So here they are just charging me $10 a month working at Bruce Pack back in 2016. So every job I've worked, they've automatically taken out. So how could possibly I be behind on any kind of child support, especially child support to a child that's not mine? I mean, I've never had my day in court on this. This paperwork has been passed around to where people think it was like passed out like by God, and it hasn't been. And it was only a matter of time before they started abusing it. And states like Oklahoma are making unconstitutional titles and stating stuff like this, and you'll see that. I mean, Oklahoma has found a new source of income here. See, none of this was issued by a court. I mean, child support enforcement, nobody's challenged it. And so over time, these agencies will start abusing it. Not necessarily the agency, but the feminazis in the agency. And in Bryan County, or Oklahoma, this is a new source of income. So they don't want people to quit paying it at all. So they're going to make it to where they can keep charging and charging and charging, because they're just going to crooks, man. because none of this is going to the children, and hasn't been. Because when they get child support nowadays, not like when my mom was raising 5 of us, you know, she didn't get no state aid. She never applied for it. She worked. And she raised us all, you know, to understand right and wrong and to stand up for your rights when somebody's trying to, like, take advantage of you like this. Now, see, none of this documentation has been signed. You'll never find one. But the signature on it validates its integrity. Holds the person that's issuing it, subpar said. It says this person's a director at Oklahoma Child Support Services. Well, you know, he didn't sign it, so you can't hold him accountable because he didn't sign it. Anybody could have put his name. Glory, hold and behold, I looked this sucker up, and this is his LinkedIn page. And this is about a week ago. This is his LinkedIn page. So it's about current as far as current can be. He's an IT administrator at DHS. He's not a director. He's an IT administrator. Because if you look up somebody and they're a director or something, it'll tell you. And this is the only thing that I could find with that name that located at DHS. Okay, it's got him working there for 24 years and 3 months as a Program Division Information Technology Administrator. Not director, but administrator. What he does is he works on their internet, software, fixes bugs, gets their network going, and fixes all the problems that they're having with the software that they're using. And that's what he does. He's not a director. You know, he just does their IT for them. And this is what the IT administrator's job, some of his job duties are. But he's not a director. Nowhere on his LinkedIn states that he's a director. So this is what we're looking at here. So this has been frauded. Jim Hutchinson is not a director. He's an IT administrator. And see, you have the right as an American citizen that anything that you're forced to do, any levies or anything, has to have a signature or be run through a court. It's as simple as that. This paperwork is unsigned, and so nobody can be held accountable for it. If the person didn't sign it, for all this Jim guy knows, his name, he may not even know his name's on this paperwork. You know, you don't know. It's as simple as that. That's why every document that includes that you're forced to pay something, if it's a court order, it has to have a signature, and it has to have your signature to show that you received this order, that you know you've been court ordered, you had your day in court. This stuff here, this is illegal. It's all crap. It violates your civil rights and your federal rights, because this woman's right to reproduce ends when it violates your right not to be involved in it or not to be lied to. I mean, the moment she lies about having birth control or something like that, protection, because it's not the guy's responsibility, it's the girl's. It's her body, her choice, and she's the one that's going to get pregnant. And I'm seeing a lot of women that just really can't take it because they can't date, they can't do this, they pawn their kids off, they bring predators around their children. I mean, it's the women that are doing it, it's not the men. See, and here's what I'm talking about: illegal Nazi BS. And the kids are full grown now. This Dakota Ward, he's full grown. He's been full grown for a couple of years. And now they're awarding this. This is so that Oklahoma, like I said, Oklahoma found a new source of income here. You know, it was, wrongfully prosecuting people and charging them with offenses they didn't commit, and then getting them to pay fines. See, I never had my day in court in this, and they're saying demanded here within. Demanded by who? I don't see judge's name on this. And I wasn't invited to this little shindig, and I wasn't represented at this little shindig. So we're just looking at all Nazi this, all Nazi that. And I don't care, because it really doesn't mean a thing to me. I'm here to bear witness, so the more of this stuff you guys do, bring it on. That just shows just how corrupt this particular stuff is, and you've already shown that you're going to forge a document and put somebody on there that's not a director. I mean, that just blew you out of the water right there, because you've already shown that you're willing to do that. Anything. So I don't really care about this thing. You can't order me to do anything. I'm a United States citizen. And you've persecuted me on this, and I've never been to court for this. Never. And you just compiled it. You've got your little Nazis that are like sitting there premeditating. Okay, we're going to find this, and then we're going to, lay this on this guy, and we're going to make sure we send a notification to the wrong address. And it's just all corrupt. And I've got proof they send stuff to the wrong address. That Bryan County does. That's how they do their legal stuff. These people here, I don't have an exact proof, but I guarantee you it wasn't sent to my address. Because then they couldn't get a judgment against me, but they don't have a judgment because no judge signed off on it. Two attorneys that are in league with each other do not validate a fair and impartial hearing. So all this other stuff is like mute. I mean, I could care less. It doesn't make a difference. I know the county clerk, she'll backstamp anything. Backdate it, whatever. Mistaken identity? I wasn't even in the state. And there's several reasons that you could presume why my name came up. Probably knew me. A lot of people know people, but don't actually have to know them or met them for more than like 5 minutes, or not even met them, just heard them through another family member or friend. But apparently they picked somebody that they didn't want to be in the state. And like I said, around here, who knows? It could have been family protecting a child molester that's part of their family, uncle, aunt, who knows? Or she engaged in sex, and you could just go on forever. I don't know. All I know is I wasn't in this state when this all happened, because the kid was born in 99 and I left this state in 97. So here's all this stuff, and they're charging you like taxes, interest. How's that legal? I don't even see how that's legal, because I didn't sign anything. They don't have anything with my signature on it saying that I'm taking out a loan. I mean, Oklahoma is just abusing this because they're looking at it as an income, because their state is 11th the corrupt state in the union. So they can't get any decent business to come in here. So they're just doing their underhanded, illegal, violating American citizens' rights left and right by doing all this petty stuff. And Janice Ward, you gotta be in freaking prison from the way you brought up your daughter, if that is your daughter. And I could care less about principal or interest. It doesn't mean a thing to me, because I didn't sign anything that would warrant that they give them the right to charge me interest on nothing. See, this is just an Oklahoma rogue state, Nazi state thing, and I know for a fact it violates my rights as an American citizen, because under the American Consumer Protection Plan, I can refuse and dispute any debt. And underneath the American Consumer Protection Plan, I'm protected against fraudulent charges like this that were levied against me for services I didn't order. I didn't order no baby. I didn't order this unlawful harassment. So, and it's not my fault. The parents of these loose-legged women aren't doing their job. And the state's not going to do anything about it as long as they know they can make a buck off of it. I guarantee you Oklahoma will not care. They'll just keep encouraging it. They found a gold mine here, and they're gonna abuse it to the full extent to where it's gonna step in, and they're gonna just bam, and they're gonna lose their they're gonna lose some privileges, and they're probably gonna have a federal arbitrator come in here and take a look at it and do assessments on it and tell them, you guys, because we can't trust you to do it by yourself anymore, Oklahoma. You know, we're going to have to watch you to make sure you're not violating other American citizens' rights. So yeah, this is all going to be fun when it hits the internet. Like I said, I don't care about any female's right. The moment they mention my name and levy this stuff against me, their rights were gone. I'm not like the rest of you like P-whip guys or whatever. I know what my rights are. You accuse me of something, I have the right to, confront my accuser and see all evidence, and to make it public if I think there's something wrong. See, this is where Oklahoma allows ink to dry. This is another unbelievable thing. This is where it's for Janice Ward again, who's not going to get any money. I don't even know why they keep putting this on there. Janice Ward will not receive any money because Janice Ward did not spend any money. Janice Ward received child support, which is not paid. I believe it's paid by SSI. It's for like we're low income, and that comes from the federal government as far as I know. I think it's like SSI or something, but Oklahoma didn't pay it. Oklahoma ain't got the money to pay child support to anybody. And here you go, these people are saying that got judgment against me. And it's just two attorneys. It's a Richard Law whose lawful age states, well, we don't care about your lawful age, dude. This girl got you wearing a leash. Because these two went into conspired to set up this thing, and then to make sure that I wasn't able to attend because any invitation I got to this party was not sent to me in a proper notice time. And see, by this time, there's no juveniles involved. And that's it. And Janice Ward's not getting anything. They're just trying to maybe get her out of paying it, but she's responsible. She spit out that Misty, and Misty spit out this kid, and both of them probably lied to the guys that they did it to. Misty may not even know who Misty's real father is. And Janice may not even know who Janice's real father is. And so forth, and so forth, and so forth. And this person's like butt ugly. I can see pain in this person's life, but they probably brought it on themselves. And I don't care, one way or the other. I mean, you'll see it says I can no longer contest. What do you mean I can no longer contest? Because you did something behind my back? How's that legal? Here you do this like behind my back and I can't contest? Yes, I can. Good old Oklahoma, you can count on Nazi criminal activity all the way. Now see, this is what I got from the DHS. And so this is what my thing, when they said regarding your child support obligation to your child, this is my notes. You'll see them pop up. Because if this were my child, I would have been with the mother during the pregnancy. Because if this was my child, I'd have been with the mother raising it. So don't tell me what my obligations are, because if I gave my word to participate in her right to reproduce, I'd keep it until I was unable. Now, if you want me to be my child, I want Janice and Misty arrested and brought up on charges of premeditated felony child endangerment, premeditated felony child abuse, premeditated felony child neglect, negligence. And every member of child services and the judge and everybody be brought up on the same charges, except for not premeditated, but because they're the ones that put that kid right back in her hands. So I don't even want to hear it. I mean, these people are just as, from everything I've seen so far, are just as responsible for child abuse as the female that spits the kid out that's not ready for it. And that's her choice, her body. Under the 14th Amendment, her right to reproduce. But you need to start holding these people responsible, or you're never going to get done with this. But Oklahoma won't hold them responsible. Oklahoma's found a gold mine here. You done saw that. You know, they're going to keep, like, raping these guys as paychecks, and we're talking about something that's wrong. If a woman lies in any way, deceit, to get pregnant, to collect a check, you know, then she's got to bear full responsibility for it. Because she violated his right by including him into her right without his consent. And I believe that's somewhere a law. That's like a civil liberty violation. Because your rights end when they infringe on somebody else's rights. And I'm sure every guy has the right not to participate in a woman's right to reproduce. Point blank. Ain't none of these women mind women. I make no promises to any of them. And it all starts there. You need to start making them responsible. Here we go. My email sent while I was in AARP training. I gave these people a hard time, but I was pointing out facts to them. I mean, you didn't start AARP to do child support, because you don't know who's a deadbeat dad or who's not. And all you women know that other women. And this is where the IRS, they diverted my first stimulus check, but when I wrote them a letter and told them, well, this is a violation of somebody's civil rights, because other people, when they enact their civil right, have to bear full responsibility for it. That means if you use your right to reproduce, according to the IRS, you can't make somebody else pay for it because they never diverted another one of my stimulus checks. So my complaint was acknowledged by a department or agency of the federal government, the IRS. They did not take another stimulus check, so they understood. And when this finally gets addressed in civil court, I don't want to be some of these people. That's why I know I'm not going to have to pay anything. And there's going to be some people having to pay this stuff back. And this is what I'm saying. This paperwork needs a court seal and a judge's signature on it. And it needs to show that that person had their day in court. Because if it doesn't, like I showed you earlier, where the integrity of that document was compromised because somebody had put somebody down as a director and there's no proof of it, you know, that's why the signature is required, not by state law, but your right as an American citizen to validate that paperwork. So as an American citizen, you don't care about state law. You care about federal law. Because state law, if you let these states take your rights away from you, they will. They can't do that to you. They can't, like, hold secret court and not invite you and then say, well, you can't contest this any longer. That's BS too. I mean, this is all BS. That's why I don't care. I'm just bearing witness. And what they do or send me, I plan on letting you, the American people, see it as well. I just gave these people an awful hard time, but get used to it, people. Because when this finally does go to civil court, you know, in the federal court, uh, the Supreme Court, the federal Supreme Court, a lot of people are going to find out they were on the wrong side. And this video with Oklahoma screwing people over is just going to help it get that way. Now, I was told to go to ADP. ADP is now being involved in this scam because now, instead of paying clearinghouse or whatever, if you actually load it, now you're paying ADP that's going to take some out of it. So this is just a scam after scam. That's how you tell it's a scam. A lot of people are hopping on board on it. So I got one from Arizona and one for Oklahoma, and they're both from El Paso, Texas. And as far as I'm concerned, they're Nazis too. They're involved in it. They don't have any court seals or judges' signatures on it. They just have this crap here, and it doesn't mean a thing. And what I'm saying is that you need to start voting these Nazis out of office and start class action lawsuits against the employers that are aiding and abetting in this illegal embezzlement of your hard-earned money for immoral females exercising their right to reproduce and violating your right not to be part of it. Now, when I was married, we agreed. We planned both children. She got off birth control and everything. They just didn't happen. Although it wasn't until after that I found out that she really didn't put that much into the kids. She couldn't control them. And see, here's this coaches. They're saying that I only owe them like $34,000, and that's it. They didn't try to put tax on interest on it and everything, so they're crooked because they aided and abetted Carrie in stealing our son, parental kidnapping. Like I said, I called down there and everything, and hide no hair. Everybody was telling me, don't keep sending him to visit. They're going to steal him. And I was like, what? You know, it's divorce decree. It's registered in both states. Well, glory be. Sent him down for visitation. She disappeared. Didn't show up for visitation, called the number. And then I talked to her mom, and her mom said she ran off with a GI, and they're overseas. I was like, what? And then I called DHS, and they gave me the runaround, and I checked to see if they were registered in school. And of course, they're not going to tell me because DHS Child Services probably told the school. Well, the dads of me, they probably made me out to be a bad guy when I was a victim. And so this went on, and they didn't charge me child support until after my son was 18, because they knew if they went for child support while he was still a minor, I'd have been down there in Arizona, and I'd known for a fact at that point that Child Services in Arizona helped her commit parental kidnapping. These people won't even talk to me because I told them, I said, you guys just are crooks and you helped her steal, and they don't even want to talk. And see, because this child support thing is like, it's hard to get anything against it, and people just companies just automatically jump on the bandwagon thinking they're doing good when they're actually doing bad. They're encouraging these women to where their rights supersede the families, it supersedes the kids, it supersedes the husband or the dads. They don't have to own up to their obligation when they marry. They could just run off and destroy everything, and because it's their right. Well, it's not their right. Okay, here's Arizona AIDS, parental kidnapping of mother. See, this is the thing right here. It's not signed by any judge. Now, I've been trying to get them to send me that paperwork that shows the first date they came after me for it. See, and they weren't even charging me this. This is something that Emily Redmond did before I finally got her ousted out of her position for being a Nazi. I swear that individual's the lyingest piece of individual I've ever seen in my life. And I witnessed her lie too. I witnessed Campbell and all of them commit heinous crimes against me. God only knows who else they did it to. And these kids haven't been kids for over 20 years. And you're charging me. Because before Emily Redmond was ousted, Oklahoma wasn't letting Arizona collect child support. And then this twit here is a leader of a criminal agency that aids women in illegal parental kidnapping of children. And I'll stand to that to this day and tomorrow and the next millennium. This is how corrupt this is. They will aid women violate divorce agreements and steal kids just so that, and thank God that my children I was involved in their lives and stuff like that, because there's no telling how they would have turned out. My son and I are in a very good relationship. He's got kids of his own. But I'm proud of him in spite of his mother. As far as I'm concerned, this state here that aided and abetted in the parental kidnapping of our son, Nazis left and right. And that's how this paperwork works. I mean, you've got to have money to defeat these people, because it's hard to get your senators to do anything, because they all think, oh, it's for the children, it's a woman's right, and it's not. Arizona's been trying to collect, and no child support's owed. I've got my divorce decree coming up here, after a while, and it states that. I mean, it states no child support is to be awarded. I get sole custody of our son. She gets sole custody of our daughter. Carrie never honored visitation. She never sent Jessica. Every time I sent Stephen, she would come up with ways not to send him back, hoping that I couldn't come down and pick him up. So yeah, all this stuff goes posted. I haven't brought this up in a while, but it's time to put the light on the Nazis, Let's see what they're actually doing. And I don't care whoever objects to this, and they're probably in cahoots with it. Because I'm showing enough proof here to where, yeah, I have the right to say what I'm saying, because the proof is there. Being charged by interest from Oklahoma, and the person they're charging me for isn't even a minor, and hasn't been. I mean, the individual is 23 this year, so that means that's 5 years ago. And this paperwork they're sending is 2019. Yep, Oklahoma found a new gold mine, and they're gonna abuse it, pass new state titles, just so that their politicians and everything can just spend that money. And this is a poor state that has the highest state tax. The politicians are doing pretty good, but the citizens, not the citizens, because no state has citizens, but the residents, the American citizens that are residents here, are getting the wrong end of the shaft, man. Oklahoma, especially here in Bryan County. Bryan County loves to abuse their residents. I mean, they love to charge them for all kinds of things, coming and going. So, like I said, I'm just bearing witness to all this. I really don't care what these people do, because by the time it's all said and done, none of it will apply to me, and I'll probably get some money back, I'm sure. And the people that are getting caught taking advantage of this stuff, they'll be the ones that'll be paying. So I'm not worried about it. And I've got enough proof to where if there's a court, then I'm definitely demanding a change of venue. And as far as I'm concerned, it's not settled till it sees the United States Supreme Court hears this case, my case, on all of it. Until that happens, I don't recognize any authority of it. And that's where I stand on it. Okay, so this is the divorce document, and this is Terry and I. It's a joint Arizona-Nevada, and you'll see that both of our names are on it. Now, I say plaintiff, but I'm not the one that wanted the divorce. She did. And, of course, I wasn't going to keep her against her will because that's not right. So we go through this and everything, and her lawyer talks to my lawyer, and hers was legal aid, and I had to pay for mine. Because the only way you get legal aid in Nevada is if you're a battered spouse. Like Oklahoma and Arizona, if you're the female, you get legal aid automatically. And so it always costs the guy, and it shouldn't. So here's her signature, because it's property and settlement with custody. There's her signature. And I'm not showing the whole divorce thing because it's like 23 pages long and it covers a whole bunch. I thought I'd just cover some of the main things. And one of these days I'll have to tell you, I had to show up in court in Arizona before this divorce. Now here's where the wife's contract of debt. So after the time we file this divorce, it's over. Marriage is over. So any debt she occurs, regardless to what it is her debt only and cannot be attached to my estate or property or whatever. I don't have to pay for it. It's her debt. And it goes the same for me. Anything debts I occur, whatever they are, whatever, can't be attached to her property. And that's part of it. We're now considered separate people. So now, this is custody, visitation, everything. And the whole time, everybody's telling me, don't send him down there, don't send him down there. They'll steal him. And I was like, well, we got a divorce agreement. I'm not going to let my kids go without seeing each other. But see, here's where it says that Carrie gets sole custody of our daughter, and I get sole custody of our son. And it's considered joint custody. Because we're allowing them to see each other. But she never honored visitation. I had to always go down there and pick him up. She always made an excuse, hoping that I'd probably leave him there. So then, we get into this right here. The part that's coming up is going to show whether there's child support awarded. This is still part of the custody. And like I said, Carrie never honored it. I was the only one that honored it, trying to be fair and a good guy and everything like this. And it says, in this, neither party shall be obligated to the other to pay child support. That's period. And sure enough, he's down there. Visitation is like every weekend, while he's down there, because he'll be down there for like summer vacation or something like that. And it's like a month or so, a couple of months. And so all of a sudden she doesn't show up for visitation. And this is penalty for it, you go to prison and everything. She doesn't show up. And so I'm contacting her mom. And her mom says, well, Carrie run off with a GI and went overseas and all this. And I don't know, but I called DHS Child Services in Arizona. And they give me the runaround. And of course, here I am. Can't find out in schools because, they're probably telling the schools you can't give out information unless it's this person, because they probably made me out to be the bad guy even though I'm the victim here. And it wasn't until after our son was 18 that they did child support against me, because they knew had they done child support while he was a minor, I would have taken his paperwork right down there to Arizona and I would have picked up my son And I would have known right then and there that DHS Child Services Arizona had aided and abetted Terry Hayes in the illegal parental kidnapping of our son. And DHS Child Services in Arizona helped her. See, that's what I'm talking about. Everybody's thinking that the woman's right, she's a better parent, and it's just so wrong. And it's just a lot of women that just don't want to admit that's what it is. And then you got the guys that are pee-whipped. They won't admit it in public, because they just afraid they'll never whatever. I don't care. What's the truth is the truth. Arizona that helped her, parental kidnapping. She should now. This is this, and she knows. See, I sent him a letter. It was current, saying that I've been wrongfully charged. Sent her some, my child support, Oklahoma 2020 stuff. American citizen, and I have the right to face my accuser and see the evidence. That's my right. Well, of course, they don't need to take theirs to a court and get a judge to, sign off on it, to make it a court order, to make it illegally legal for them to steal from me and other Americans. But she sends me this back. I need to get an attorney. They know I can't afford an attorney. They know exactly what I'm making and how much they're taking. And then to get a court order, I know how it works here in Oklahoma. All she got to do is talk to the judge and he'll deny it. She says she can send me any papers that I've already sent. She says she can send me the orders and genetic tests, but I gotta get this paperwork. I gotta get a court order first. So then I say, well, here's something. Why don't we redo the test? I mean, you're saying I owe this. I'm saying I don't owe this. Let's compromise in the middle. If you think that your test is spot on and that I am the legal father, then what have you got to lose is basically what I'm saying. So I make her a deal. If we do this test and it's fair by a federal government testing facility, and I'm shown to be the father, then I'll pay everything. If I showed not to be the father, then you got to pay me back all the money you owe me that you stole from me and drop this whole case. Well, of course, she's like, DNA test through the corpse lab was a private company. It doesn't make a difference. They could have been the ones that did it right, and then you didn't take the kid's test until you had mine to compare it to. I know how it works. You didn't take them both by a legitimate company and then put them together by a third party other company. You got mine first, and then when you took it to a testing lab that you trusted and had it offset. And it's probably not that accurate. It's probably saying something like 1 out of 10,000. And that's not accurate enough to be, somebody's parent. So I've got a stepbrother and stepsister running around this area. And then they've got kids running around this area. So unless it's spot on, yeah, there's a chance that, somebody's related to somebody, cross-related to somebody. And then again, enough money, and any test facility will take care of you. Just what you need. And that's how it's done here in Oklahoma. Because apparently their judges in the district court don't follow Oklahoma law. I've shown that. And they don't even follow their judge canon or anything like that. And these lawyers here, you saw that they're sitting there and cahoots with each other. I'm not being represented, and there's no judge, and they're getting like judgments against. I don't understand that, and I don't really care. It's all very Nazi because I know it's not legal. And it's a violation of my rights as an American citizen. I guarantee it is. And you start holding these women responsible, but Oklahoma's not, because they found a gold mine. You know? The more sleazier the women they entrap men with, then the more money Oklahoma's gonna make. You know? They found a gold mine. Now here's my gallery for the employers that interfere with their employees' personal affairs. These are all the employers I was employed at, and they all get that symbol of improvement from the Nazis that are in the child support enforcement, whom I know for a fact is not my kid, because I wasn't in the state of Oklahoma. And there's no way she could have carried that child for the length of that time without setting a Ripley's Believe It or Not record. Here's these people. This is everybody that I've worked for, except for the bowling alley, because they're closed down. But this is everybody in Oklahoma that I've worked for, and the one in Nevada when it first hit. They got their little approval. And you got this because you violated my rights, my federal and state labor law rights. You know, my rights. Because since I'm an hourly worker, your only concern is what I'm doing when I'm on the clock and on your property. Anything while I'm off the clock and off the property is none of your business, none of your concern, and you shouldn't involve yourself in it. You should have told these, apparently what you're going to understand if you see this video, these child support Nazis are, you know, I'm not saying all of them, I'm not saying the agency is, I'm saying the ones that are inside of it are. And as long as they're in charge getting away with it, it might as well be in an organization. Because, you know, it's the way it is. Call it the way you see it. Yeah, these people stole from me. They all stole from me. And I already showed earlier that the integrity of the document was compromised when they were putting somebody's name on it that's not a director. And these people just followed it, jumped right in line. Oh, I'll steal from Mr. Hayes for you. Oh, me too. Guess what? That's the first work. Man, I worked there for 6 years. It's a pretty decent place to work. And then I put it in my resignation. No sense in working there if they're stealing half my money. I mean, a thief's a thief's a thief, aiding and abetting. I don't care what you want to call it. Because I know the kid wasn't mine. And I know due to the slackerness of Janice, who probably doesn't know who her father is, and Misty probably doesn't know who her father is, because they generation after generation, if the Janice did it right, got married, then Janice would have told her daughter to be on birth control. They passed the morality down. But if one, because they do it just like mom did it. That's just like mom did it. You know, they don't let your kid run around, whatever. And you're responsible too. I mean, you don't let a female run around loaded, ready to cause an innocent male problems because they're lying and deceitful and entrapping males. I mean, they were probably hoping I'd never come back to Oklahoma. See, and here's the one in Phoenix, Arizona. Then I've got the one in Oklahoma towards the end. I stamped that big old Nazi sign right on there. These people helped my ex commit parental kidnapping and charge me. And these people are just all-out crooks here in Oklahoma. I'm telling you. This whole state's set up for it. But that's because they are crooks, is why they can't get any decent businesses to come in here. Because they don't care about the residents in Oklahoma. You know? They don't care about them at all. They use and abuse, and they let the companies use and abuse also. So they don't give a crap. That's why nobody will work here. A lot of them move out or work in a different state. But I'm saying, if you don't want to be party to this as far as getting trapped in all this, just don't come to Oklahoma or Arizona. If any of this scares you, stay out of Oklahoma, because you should be scared. This state doesn't care what it does to American citizens. Bye, y'all.